recording this panel. Don't record a panel. This is not my good panel. Record my other panel. Like the one you should record last year. Joking. Anyways, so this is a fun game. You guys, is there a way to get the video to actually project what's happening at the table so it could go on the screen? Because that would be like, is there a way to get a video camera to project what's happening on the projection screen? Oh, that would be cool because then you guys could actually see the game in motion. That's actually one thing I really wanted to do was get a webcam so people could actually see the game. But, so who here has played Werewolf, I guess? All right, who here has played Resistance? All right, so this game, it's people who play this game describe it as kind of like a mixture between the two. I've never played Werewolf, so I don't know how Werewolf works. I played Resistance like 2 times, but this game might be similar to that. So if you guys want to check that out, it's a fun game. I think it's my favorite game because it's the most energetic to get people involved. And you basically have a group of people. Some of the people are changelings, some of the people are ponies. The problem is the ponies don't know who each other are. So each pony is an individual, doesn't know whether a pony is actually a real pony or a changeling. The changelings all know each other. So the changelings conspire to sneak themselves in when the ponies go on missions. There are 5 missions in the game. Each pony is a leader of a mission, and the pony gets to pick which players get to go on the mission with them. The problem is the pony might accidentally choose a changeling, and they bring a changeling on the mission, the changeling can sabotage the mission. So the point of the ponies are to try to figure out which ones are the changelings to avoid taking them on the mission. And you do this for 5 rounds. The one with the most wins at the end of the game wins the game. Oh, but here's the fun thing. Twilight Sparkle actually knows who the changelings are. So like in the show, you know how Twilight was suspicious about Cadence not evil good pony? I mean, Princess Cadence. She knows who the changelings are. So when the changelings are conspiring at the beginning of the game, so for example, we're going to have players close their eyes. Only changelings open their eyes. So everyone knows who the changelings are. So Twilight Sparkle is going to be one of those people who knows who the other changelings are. So her job is to discreetly warn the other ponies, hint, hint, this person's a changeling. The problem is, if the ponies win the game, the changelings have 1 chance to victory. If the changelings can correctly guess who Twilight Sparkle is, they automatically win the game. So it's a game where you have to be really, really subtle in context. And then the more players you have, the more abilities are activated. For example, if you have 6 players, now Rainbow Dash's ability is activated. Rainbow Dash knows who Twilight Sparkle is and tries to protect Twilight Sparkle by pretending to be Twilight Sparkle, throw suspicion off Twilight onto her. So when the changelings try to guess which one's Twilight, they might accidentally guess Rainbow Dash. And then when you get up to 7 players, Queen Chrysalis's ability is activated. And Queen Chrysalis could transform into Twilight. So when Rainbow Dash is looking to see which pony is Twilight, she sees 2 ponies as Twilight. So she has to make a decision, which one is the real Twilight and which one's the fake one. So it's a layered game. The more players you have, the more abilities are activated, and the more layered the gameplay becomes. Yep, more people, more fun. So this is a game that's great for a bunch of people. I love this game, but the problem is I normally always live in households with only 4 people, so I never have enough to actually play the game. But there's no more abilities that are activated, but the missions become harder. For example, you actually see the mission, so you see in the box there, that will denote how many ponies go on each mission. And depending on how many levels the players are, you might have more ponies on the mission. So it becomes harder and harder to guess. So for the ponies, it becomes harder and harder to guess which people are changelings, because there are going to be percentage-wise more changelings in each group. But for the changelings, it becomes harder and harder and harder because they have to now sabotage at a higher rate. So stuff like that is fun. All right, so this is a card game you guys all are coming for. Of course, famous game. I think it's a game that's been in development hell for about a year now. It's a game that I've been vigorously playtesting with my old roommates, Fire and V and Sean and John, who actually are all vendor staff here at BronyCon. But ironically, John, my old roommate John, his younger brother, was actually the smartest player of the game. I think he's like only 12 years old, but he found a way to stalemate everybody into victory, and it's just very ingenious how he does it. When I explain the game mechanics, I'll tell you how he did it. I mean, only a kid with a genius mind could think of that. But This is a game that originally started as a homage to the Chinese game Mahjong. Now, most people think of Mahjong as a tile matching game. That's not how Mahjong is played. If you think of real Mahjong is a game of intrigue. It's also a game of positioning, where sometimes it's not about you winning, it's about you helping someone else win at a lower level than having someone else win at a higher level. So it's also about you thinking about yourself, but in perspective of everyone else. So for example, when you have traditional games like checkers, chess, and Go, it's 2-on-2, and it's always about how do I win? What's the next strategy to allow me to win? People say life is like chess, but in reality, life is never like chess because there's no black and white dynamic. There's no real good guy or bad guy. In reality, life would be more like Mahjong. So Mahjong has 4 players, and each of the 4 players has to try to dictate where they fall in proportion with everyone else. It's kind of like the Nash equation, where it's not just about you winning, but sometimes about a small group of people winning. So this was originally the concept about it because I thought that was the best description to represent fandoms. Like, fandoms are an interesting conundrum. How is it that what's really interesting, so for example, when I first started in this fandom, TumblrPon was where most of the people I knew got started. Like a lot of the artists we have in the Artist Alley and Vendor Hall down here all got their start drawing ass blogs on Tumblr. Now what's interesting was we all started forming little groups on Skype where we could all chit chat with each other, share information. What they found interesting was a little kid in middle school who probably has no bearing on reality and life can sometimes seem more popular and sometimes seem superior in position than someone who's 40 years old who probably was a captain in the military. I thought that was an interesting thing about the fandom where in the real world, we're all dictated about what we have on our resume, what our level of education was, what our rank is in the military, what our job description are. But then the fandom, that all doesn't really matter. If you kind of look at it, like for example, YouTube. YouTube doesn't care if you got a college education or if you're a high school dropout. People who are popular on YouTube for random things. And it's kind of like that for the fandom. Like, the people who are in the high positions are not always the people you expect. And I think that's a great equilibrium, where you could have a middle school kid and an army major at the same level because that anonymity is there. But also, that doesn't matter in a fandom that's supposed to be purely for fun, escapist purposes. So, trying to represent that, I thought Mahjong would be a great game to kind of represent how a fandom is like. Now the problem is, when I started making this game, people were saying, you know, we really should have a brony game that's like a Munchkin game. And I'm like, I don't know what Munchkin is. People were like, all right, you should check out Munchkin. So I played Munchkin. I was like, all right, it's an interesting game, but it's kind of hard. But I started to see what they were getting at. So I tried to put some more Munchkin elements and mechanics into the game. And then what's interesting is if you look at the original beta, it was like this much Mahjong, this much Munchkin. And as more and more people were telling me it has to be like Munchkin, I want a Munchkin game, it just slowly starts shifting to the Mahjong elements completely disappear. And now, as I released the core deck, it's basically a simplified version of Munchkin because that's what people wanted. But I kept some interesting elements in there to try to tie people up. So one of the things I kind of divided up the fandom into 3 different categories. So you have 3 different category types. So you have con staff, you have news bloggers, you have podcasters, you have musicians, you have artists, and you have writers. If you guys have I think the people who had the beta edition, the purple card started out as satirists. So I had satirists to represent, you know, like the YouTube abridgers and people who make humorous animations and people who also write funny fan fictions. But a lot of fan fiction writers were saying you should have a writer card. So I decided just to make it writer. But you kind of see a fandom that's divided between 2 categories. So you have the top category and the bottom category. The top category of the fandom, from the con staff, podcasters, and bloggers, are kind of like the more management, organizational side of the fandom. The face of the fandom and how people connect through fandoms are normally through these groups. It's through websites, it's through blogging sites, it's through conventions. These are the groups of people who kind of manage and organize and make sure everyone gets together and coalesces into one place. So the top side represents the management side of the fandom. Now you have the bottom side. You have the writer, artists, and musicians. This represents the creative side of the fandom, the creative content that pumps the inspiration through, you know, the blood veins of our community. And these are the people who try to create new things. These are the people who fill the vendor halls, fill the panel rooms, fill the community guest list. So you have that, now you have a dynamic between two different types of groups within the fandom. And then each of them is also further divided into two different groups. So for example, con staff and bloggers represent the side of the fandom that's inherent with dealing with what we know as the identity of fandom and the people who are like show staff, like interleading between Hasbro and stuff. So these are like the public representatives of the fandom. Then you have podcasters and musicians, which form a group that represent the auditory arts. So these are groups that represent, you need sound to make their content work. And then you have writers and artists who represent visual arts. So these are forms that have to be visualized. So when you start the game, you randomly get to pick one of these cards. Now, if you guys got the beta, you see that they had some fun little game cards that represented like different personalities in the fandom. I simplified it, so these are just the core deck is a complete simplified one, so the extra things I had in the beta are cut out. They will be available in expansions. But these are the cards you're going to have to start off with. Now, there are going to be two types of cards in the deck. You're going to have blue cards, which are swag cards, and you're going to have black cards, which are fandom cards. Fandom cards represent someone's experience in the fandom, and when you go through a fandom, you're going to have good times, bad times, drama, excitement, celebration. And to try to tie in the theme of experiencing what it's like in the fandom, I thought drawing cards from a deck should feel like a dashboard. You know, when you look at your dashboard on Twitter or Tumblr or DeviantArt, you kind of just see a bunch of information, artwork, music, videos posted really fast. Sometimes you accidentally click on a post that starts drama. And that's what it's kind of like. So I decided to design the cards based off different websites. So for example, the drama card, the second card you see there is based off a Tumblr format. The Trollbait card is based off 4chan. The follower cards are based off Twitter. And then when you go to these cards, the swag cards are representative of an Amazon page where you buy stuff on Amazon. And then the headcanon cards represent DeviantArt. And I left them blank so you can actually draw your own headcanon of what you think that looks like. And then you have the Trollbait card, and then you have the Drama Feud cards. So let's start with these cards first. So how many of you have been around in the fandom since the first 2 years? Remember what the old saying was in the fandom? Love and tolerate, love and tolerate. How surprising, like 3 years later, no one says that anymore. Well, that's what you kind of experience when you play this game. So for example, in this game, you have two options. You could go, when you go through the fandom, and when you come across drama, what do you do when you face drama? You could do one of two things. You could love it or tolerate it. If you love it, you try to confront it and make sure that that drama is relaxed or suppressed. Or you could tolerate it and close your ears and just ignore it. So the love and tolerate option for the game are represented at the bottom of the cards. So you see a heart button. So normally when you like something, you click the heart button. If you click the heart button, you love it. And then you have the reblog button or the close button. You click reblog, it's like, hey, it's not my problem, I'm going to reblog it to someone else. Because if you don't take care of this drama, the next player is going to have to face that drama. So so if you want to tolerate it, just ignore the drama and push it to someone else. Oh, this Unicon's happening, I don't care, someone else can have it. Oh, M.A. Larson lost his retainers, oh, I don't care, someone else can turn. So that's what happens. So let's look at these different cards. So we have the drama cards. And drama is represented by different levels. So if you look at the red box in the drama card, there are different levels of drama. So if you are in the horse fandom, everyone except for the main person, so every round there's going to be one person in charge and there's going to be a bunch of smaller people. The first person gets to start off at level 2 horse fame, because if you're in charge of the horse fandom, you get to have extra horse fame. Everyone else starts at level 1 of horse fame. Now, if you're on the lower side of horse fame, tackling drama is going to be much, much harder. So you might not be able to tackle it, but for a drama that's low level, if you're at a high enough level, it's not a problem. I can easily take care of this drama, and by saving people from this drama, I get to go up in the level. That's how it works. Sometimes you're going to have drama that's really, really, really hard to deal with, and you're not going to know what to do. For example, Convention Center is on fire drama, or Conflu drama, or cringy guy starts stalking show staff drama. What are you going to happen at that level? You have to be careful and try to either, you can't avoid it sometimes. For example, I think there's 2 drama cards that are impossible to avoid. You have, I think, Goodbye the Fandom is Over, and you have, I think, Hasbro President, who steps in and tries to put the banhammer on the entire fandom. And those 2 cards are dangerous because if you don't defeat that drama, you lose the game. And not just you, everyone loses the game. So it's a game that's supposed to represent the camaraderie of the fandom. Everyone has to unite at that one moment and defeat that drama card. However, remember when I said my friend's younger brother found an interesting way to win the game? Well, every time you defeat drama, you go up a level of horse fame. The first person to level 10 of horse fame wins the game. So what happens is he's at level 9, and then he plays Goodbye the Phantom is Over. So now everyone is either forced to help him defeat the drama, or else they all lose. But if they help him defeat it, he automatically goes up a level and wins. So he put the entire group of all of us into an interesting checkmate where we could either all mutually agree to lose, or we could all decide to defeat drama but he wins. And we decided to all agree to mutually lose. But it was a very interesting checkmate position that he put us in. So that's the type of gameplay you're going to see when you play these types of games. You're going to try to see different levels of drama played against. Now, sometimes you don't get drama. Sometimes you get small level of drama. Sometimes it's not real drama that's happening. Sometimes it's just a troll. So that's where you get the troll bait cards. For example, I think Milo Spider Seas is the troll bait there. It says you get turned into a spider for the next few rounds. So sometimes these things don't affect you, but they won't affect you as bad as drama, but they will hinder you to try to gain more levels of horse fame. But sometimes you get lucky, you get a new follower, and that follower card helps you. So followers are your allies. So whenever you face drama, you get to have the benefit of having extra followers back you up into the drama. So the more followers you have, the more ability you have to overcome and defeat drama. Sometimes you're really, really lucky, and you get a Brony point, which is the gold card. And the gold card allows you to get something special. Sometimes you get to go up a level or 2 in horse fame, or sometimes you get extra swag for free. So these cards are the cards you want, but you're rarely going to get them because no one hands out gold tickets in this fandom. So let's talk about the other side. So what happens when you defeat drama? Well, it's like, going to the vendor hall. You made extra money, you decide to start spending it on stuff. So when you defeat drama, you get extra goodie points, and you get to spend them on horse swag. And you don't know what type of horse swag you get, but sometimes you get some very, very good horse swag. So sometimes horse swag is only available to certain type of people. For example, you have a Cintiq, which is, for us artists, really, really good because we could draw some amazing stuff with Cintiq. But for someone who's a musician, it's completely useless. So sometimes horse swag is convenient for you, sometimes it's not accessible to someone else. But sometimes, for example, if I was a musician and I got a Cintiq, I can't use it. But hey, I have an artist who's next to me who might like the Cintiq. I would give him the Cintiq, but I might want to bargain for something with it. So I was like, hey, if you help me team up against the con staff right there, I will give you the Cintiq. And then we team up and defeat the con staff. Or vice versa. So that's how the game will kind of work. It's kind of a game of bargaining, just like what happens in real fandoms. It's about building alliances and building your way up to worthless horse drama, because the first person who wins level 10 gets to become the king of the horses, or whatever it is. Alright, so that's the game we have there. Oh, is that it? Yeah. Well, anyways, so, so if you guys are interested in the games I have, definitely make sure to check out my booth. You probably all know where my booth is. It's at 512 in the vendor hall. And again, if you guys want to say, I think we have time to do a few games. So at the end of the panel, I'm going to ask you guys to come up here, and if you guys want to play a few games, the person who wins the game gets to keep the card game. Yeah. But reminder, tomorrow I'm doing a panel on the history of fan conventions. If you want to know more about fandoms and black lights. Oh, too much drama. Yeah! Everyone goes up a level of horse fame. All right. And this is the other game. This is the other panel. This is the one I'm really proud of. What are you guys talking about? You guys make out? All right. All right. So everyone who's interested in staying behind, you guys can all gather around the table. We are going to be playing Changeling, and whoever wins the game gets to keep the card game. So I'm going to need a maximum of 7 people. So raise your hand if you guys are interested.